This is the continual evolution of the East Coast beat. It is not yet the witching hour. There was a piece in the pre-dawn. In the pre-dawn hours, I throw my loosely connected hand into the cool midnight womb. In the mix, solitude unendless. Bop Kabbalah theory, unspent energy. Another 4 a.m. baseline. Baseline is a street that runs through my city. So, and then I talk a little bit about rolling down the I-10. I can't remember much of that, but I remember that part. Hapless. Hapless is the groove of the people, dancing to the beat. I just kind of always thought, I've seen certain situations where I'll be standing like at a certain at the not at the exact outside, but I'll be back enough away from the stage or whatever to see how it's doing and how the crowd is forming. And I know there's hundreds of people in this little building, and I love it. I used to go to shows. I used to go to raves, rages, rockouts. I've been in. One of my partners in the army got me into. They were playing Rage Against the Machine. They were playing some house music too, but for a while they were playing a lot of bands like that, and it was in a old meat factory, like a warehouse, meat slaughtering house, and they actually held it in there. It was pretty tight. I've been in old airports. I've been to a rave. I've been to a show at the airport, and then I went to a Courtney Love Whole show. When her daughter was she brought her daughter out at one point, Frances Bean, and her daughter was like 2 years old, 18 months or something like that. Now, I just saw on the internet that her daughter's like 32, so 30 something years ago, I saw Courtney Love in concert, and I guess I was 21, you know what I'm saying? And I saw that in an old airport. That was nice. It was a nice drive. My Hungarian girl knew these people that had a car and they wanted to go to the show. So I remember, like my girl told me, "Hey, do you want to go to this whole show?" So she had a CD. So I listened to her CD for a little bit, and I thought, all right, I'll go to the show. And then I went and bought one. I think I can't remember which tour I went on hers, but I remember some of the songs, and so I bought that album, and so I knew I could at least sing along to the chorus. You know what I'm saying? I wasn't holding up a cardigan sweater and crying, but I was part of this, and then they had these two mosh pits going on at this airport. It was an old airport. It was an airport hangar, and they had these two mosh pits going on, and one was about 50 to 100 people, and the other one was about one was about 30 to 50 people, and the other was about 50 to 100 people. And somehow I got involved in the big one, and I got hammered across the side of the face at that show. And yeah, it was great. I loved it. I'm not much of a mosh pit person because I just don't know the proper etiquette. Like, I'm going to end up getting elbowed, you know what I'm saying? So I just stand on the crowd, and then nobody's ever asked to get by me. You know what I'm saying? I tell them keep on trucking. You know what I'm saying? So, have I ever been in a mosh pit? Yeah, and then I just get out. Like I said, most people, like I said, I look more like the Jimi Hendrix fan at a death metal show than anything else. Do you know what I'm saying? Especially with the way I used to dance. No one was taking me, shit. No one's thinking, oh, this guy's all hardcore. They're like, Psh, get this, this guy listens to the Black Crows for sure. You know what I'm saying? Probably even knows a Tina Turner song. You know what I'm saying? Like, get this guy out of here. But yeah, so I've been to a couple shows and venues like that. Like I said, I had a partner that got me into a rave at an old, and this is like old brick, meat slaughterhouse, and I don't know how they got that, but they're like the first 750 people after that were locking the gates. I walked in about maybe 30 minutes, 45, an hour later, they locked the gates, and it wasn't even like midnight. So they reached full capacity before midnight. It was nice, like I said, back then in Germany at raves. I mean, I went to one rave in Germany where a girl came up with some Adidas sweats and a bra on. But most raves, they look just like they dress just like they did when they went to school that day. University students, they're in there wearing Crocs and Champion sweaters, and you know what I'm saying? That's how they dressed to the rave that night, you know what I'm saying? It was a different world. Like I said, I came back to California. I went to one or two raves. I mean, they're pretty nice, and one was even outdoor, up in the mountains, and that was pretty chill. But I had friends back then, so it was funner. But like I said, at a certain point, it just you know, I don't know. I'd rather for that kind of, I mean, for the overall event, and getting ready, standing in line, not sleeping all night, getting worried about getting pulled over for a DUI. Like I said, that's why I gave up my not my driver's license, but that's why I gave up my car. Eventually, I was like, you know what? Why? I'll just take the bus. I mean, be eco-friendly, and then I don't have to worry. Oh, I smell like weed. It's like you're smelling like weed at the bus stop. That's fine. You know what I'm saying? Some of these guys smell like they haven't taken a bath in 7 days. I'm sure the bus driver doesn't mind a little reefer. You know what I'm saying? Like, reefer and soap will get you on the bus. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, that's the whole thing. So, but the whole um, quote comes from the fact that to not think. I used to write nonstop, non-sleep, non-thought night. And then you usually had to deal with the side of a river, because the place where I spent most of my free time when I was in the army had a river that ran through it, that ran through part of the old downtown. And I would go to this river every now and then. And there was a Leonard Cohen song that talked about this crazy lady that would take you to her house by the river. And I was listening to Leonard Cohen at the time, and I was drinking vanilla coffee and smoking non-filtered cigarettes and burning vanilla candles, and it was, oh man. And I had long hair and long fingernails, and I wore a wool trench coat, a Russian military wool trench coat in Germany. You know what I'm saying? that I got off the black market, you know what I'm saying? But, hey, non-stop, non-thought nights, non-sleep, non-thought nights. How do you have, how do you stop thinking? You just get so involved in life that eventually it's kind of like a fire. It starts, it burns its way through, it gets big and massive and blazing, and then it finally just stops. And then you are what you are. It's what you did while you were on fire. You know what I'm saying? But that's one thing, like I said, that the East that Eastern thought has taught me. I could be doing this with my life. I could be doing that. I could spend my last $5 on this. I could spend my last $5 on that. What I do is what I do. How I get by is how I get by. And when I do realize, my situation, I do realize that it's not yet older. It's not yet over. I'm just simply older. Have I changed? I don't know. You know what I'm saying? I mean, yes, I think I have. Hopefully, I think I have. I know I don't do certain things that I used to do, but I still do certain things that I've always done. So have I changed? Well, my circumstances have changed. Have I changed? Well, I mean, I liked who I was as a kid. Why would I want to change that much from that? I mean, I liked myself as a kid. I thought I was a hell of a kid. That's why I took myself, hey, join the army, travel the world, You deserve to eat ice cream and, you deserve to eat Italian ice cream, and Swiss chocolate and you deserve to eat, bread fresh out the bakery, because you're already up at 3:45 in the morning. You know what I'm saying? That's how I was when I was younger. Very eager, very happy. Like I said, the entire time I was in the army, I was high. I mean, incredibly high. Like, not that I smoked weed or took any drugs while I was in the military, but I mean, just that feeling I had was just intense. Like, it was my mission and my motivation to serve. You know what I'm saying? I knew, like, as soon as I got into basic training and I figured I could do this, and all I knew is I had to just keep putting in. And like I said, from the minute I got to my unit, all I had to do was and then like I said, I did this, I did that, I ended up with my own room, and I thought, man, hey, there's perks to this. And then I got introduced to this guy, I got introduced to that guy. Next thing you know, I'm getting rides from people, taking me to places that I wouldn't go on my own, but this is how they just, hey, you know what I'm saying? Because I didn't have any problems with people. You know what I'm saying? I was very upfront, very, very, but at the same time, I was a dominant person. When I was in the military, I was a dominant person. When I was in juvenile hall, I was a dominant person. When I was the camp counselor for the Salvation Army, I was a dominant person because these kids had problems. They didn't need a soft, sweatpant wearing, cook you breakfast kind of guy. They needed a guy that could tell you, hey, man, the odds are some of us are going to end up in juvenile hall. Some of us are going to end up lifetime, felons. Some of us are going to end up this and a couple of us are going to end up with a wife and kids and we're going to know though that at one point we were all here and that we were all, as equal as that. Like, There was one time in my life where I was at a table with five guys, and out of them, two of them became this, and one of them did this, and one of them did that. That was our moment. You know what I'm saying? You know, and that's the whole thing. It could be as simple as a roll of the dice. It really could be as simple as that. Is it, I'm walking down the street. I could keep walking straight. I could stop. I could ask somebody for directions. I could, break into somebody's car. I could steal a potted plant. I could do all these things. But what do I do is what I do. And then when I get to the end of the street, I turn right because that's where my bus stop is. You know what I'm saying? Or I'm walking down the street with my dog. That's like, I don't really necessarily walk the streets. You know what I'm saying? So I don't really get challenged. Like, there have been times where people, hey, what are you doing here and stuff like that. Man, I'm just walking the streets. Well, why are you walking? Because I just moved here and I need to find out my quickest way from here to there and what street's the safest and whose dog's gonna chase me and whose dumbass fucking son is gonna come running after me because I'm walking down the street asking me where you from? 2 blocks away. Trying to make it to the Stater Brothers, you know what I'm saying? Thought I'd try this street, but I guess not, shit, I'll just keep my own path. But I don't really get that a lot. I mean, I take Mermaid out for walks, and like I said, people understand, oh, he's got a little dog. So if I'm standing in front of your yard, the worst thing you're thinking is that dog is taking a shit in my yard. You know what I'm saying? But it's not like I'm looking in your car and looking up and down the street and, you walk outside and there's a bunch of scratch marks by your door. You know what I'm saying? It's like, that's not who I am, thankfully. You know what I'm saying? I wouldn't want to be such a pest, like, oh my God, gotta lock everything down because, Sticky Fingers Malone is in town. You know what I'm saying? So non thought, how to have non thought. Just get involved in life. Stay up late, wake up early, work hard. Um, if someone, wants to have a deep conversation, go deep. If someone doesn't, don't. You know what I'm saying? Try to be honest with yourself, and if you're not spending half the time lying, you're not really thinking after a while because then you live the hey, then you'll have conversations and people will react to you naturally because you haven't been pretending to be somebody else the whole time. So now you don't have to think. Should I say this? Should I not say that? I've talked to this guy 5 times. If there's anything that I'm gonna say that's gonna offend him on the 6th time, you know what I'm saying. So the continual evolution of the East Coast beat. How does one enter non-thought? You must become involved in your body to the point where you exhaust your body's ability to control your mind, then your mind will set on fire, and then after that you'll enter a state of non-thought. You'll be conscious, you'll be aware, you'll make great decisions, but it'll be non-thought, and you can train yourself to enter that phase initially. It may, extremely, you know what I'm saying, but then once you're used to how that feels, then you can enter that thought easily at times. Just sitting on a bus, bow your head a little bit, breathe, and you're in that same state of mind that once took you 32 hours to get to. You know what I'm saying? Now you just simply, put your hand on your leg and breathe deep, and that'll put you in the same state. You'll connect to yourself. Um, but yeah, I think originally most uh, connections to non-thought have to be extreme, because you have to realize that you've entered non-thought many times in your life, and you've just shaken it off as, oh, nothing's going on. No, that's non-thought. That's not nothing going on. That's non-thought. That's but from what I hear, a lot of people just instantaneously engage in the nearest trivial entertainment or pleasure, rather than taking non-thought farther than that, taking it for a walk to the creek to see fish swim, and to see, the how tall the thickets have grown this summer. You know what I'm saying? So when people reach non-thought, their first tendency is to, not always their first tendency, but they tend to just fall into something mundane, because non-thought is to me, non-thought is a clearness, but it is still a heaviness, because it's a fuller sense of being. um, and there is thought, in my opinion. If you hear your thought as voices, even in non-thought, there's still thought. But in non-thought, you can feel the breeze. In non-thought, you can feel the sweat on the back of your neck. In non-thought, you can smell the fireplace. When you're busy in thought, you don't do that stuff. You don't notice the smell of the food you're eating. You don't notice, how wet the grass is from the sprinkler system. You don't notice those things in thought, but in non-thought you will. Non-thought lets you feel. Non-thought brings you back and into yourself, to the point where you have space in between you and reality, and you can experience this reality. And you're not concerned with um, the typical thinking, chatter. I need to do this. I need to do that. Does my outfit look good? You know, things like that. I mean, of course, I think that's what they call thinking. Just the regular mundane stuff that occupies your daily. Oh, was that movie funny? Well, if you can think about, was a movie funny to the point where it affects your life, then it was worth it. But if you're just, randomly watching, YouTube video shorts, swiping continually through them, and just, every third one you laugh at, is that's thinking. That's your mind thinking. That's not non-thought. Is when something comes to your mind that makes you want to express that you would think, you know what, that would be beautiful. If I could, I would. Like, if I could take a picture of this right now, I would. If I could write a poem about these words that, I've just thought about, I would. If I could, dance, I would. If I could play a guitar, I would. You know what I'm saying? So, um, those are the kind of thoughts that you start getting in non-thought. The heavy thoughts that are heavy with emotion, because thinking and emotion aren't the same thing. But you should never try to not be. To not be is an absence and a void. You can try to not be angry, to try to not lose your temper, but you cannot, do not try to not be. As a whole, you know what I'm saying? The continual evolution of the East Coast beat.